Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video and your daily update on Bitcoin. We're going to do a full update on Bitcoin. We'll talk a little bit about next week. I'll also later today post a full update for next week. So we'll also take a look at economic data. Obviously, next week we have the FOMC meeting, which is going to be very important, of course. Not only what the actual outcome is. At this point of time, it looks most likely that it's going to be a rate cut. The inflation rate data that we had on Friday also did not change that, so that's a good thing. Although it's 86 to 14, right? So there is still a possibility that we're not going to get a rate cut. That would have some very bearish implications, just so you know. But like I said, I'll talk a little bit more about that in my video this afternoon. In this video, I wanted to focus a little bit more on Bitcoin. Zoom out a bit to see the last week and what the actual direction is right now, where the momentum is going. And then we'll zoom in, because I'm probably going to title this video something like flush warning. I think there are two possibilities or two kind of scenarios for a flush, which I think you should be ready for both of them. And those can be pretty, like given the current market circumstances, everything is very correlated. The liquidity is quite low. A flush like that can cause quite a lot of volatility, not only for Bitcoin, but also for altcoins. So that's why I think you need to be aware of that. But for now, let's start out by zooming out on Bitcoin and to get a bit of an idea of last week. Now, last week ultimately was not necessarily bearish. Obviously, it started bearish, but we found strong support here at the point of control, got some strong momentum afterwards, and so far we are holding some sort of resemblance of momentum. It's not amazing, right? I mean, these times for Bitcoin are certainly not the same as what we had during the summer. It's not the same as right here at the end of September. It's not the same as what we had right here in August. That was real and lasting momentum. And then you can also see that the pullbacks were very, very shallow. And every pullback we had was caught up relatively quickly and easily, and we rallied higher. Those were pretty great times. Right now, that's not the case. We pulled back to almost the 0.618 fib of the move up. And in general, the momentum is also not necessarily high. However, what you then need to see is that generally the momentum is still to the upside. And you need to talk about the fundamentals underlying Bitcoin's price action right now. And can we expect, based on those fundamentals, that we see more bullish momentum or not? And I think generally the answer to that is yes. Not only when it comes to the volatility index, aka unrest, that is decreasing. That's good for risk on equities or risk on assets such as crypto. But the Russell 2000 is quite strong. Equities in general seem to be trending upwards again, so that's pretty good. And then when we're talking about fundamentals specifically for Bitcoin, you can see that funding rates are negative. Those are bottoming signs, right? And if we're bottoming, we're most likely not going to trend down lower. The order book depth is not amazing, but it's also not incredibly bearish. There is a bit of a call skew actually short term, which is a good thing, although it's not super significant. And then we have a Coinbase Bitcoin premium, which is also a bottoming sign, right? So based on that, I would say based on the fundamentals and also the technicals, I mean, the pullback that we had and where we found support, ultimately, like we did not with the selling pressure that we had on Friday, which was quite strong. There was quite a lot of volume behind that. We were able to hold this level right here at 88,800, whereas the week before we pushed through that level and we found no support whatsoever. So there is some bullish development. The thing is, so generally, I do still think that we are bottoming. And I do still think that from this bottom, we can actually move slightly higher. I need to adjust this a bit, in my opinion. The thing is that when you take a look at the price of Bitcoin right now, to the downside, we still have this small gap and this imbalance right here at 88,000, down to the naked point of control at 87,000. There's even a week low at 86,150. And then to the upside, we have the 30-day rolling VWAP confluent with this single print at 91,700. And then you have super low volume, super low liquidity. So what is going to happen during the next 24 hours with the Asian session opening is we're going to get volatility. We're going to spike down to those levels. And honestly, I'm open for both scenarios short term. I think it is a little bit more likely that we are going to push down, get into that level between 88,500 where we have a point of control and 87,000, flush that, find support, gain stability, get more bullish momentum up towards 91,000, 92,000 afterwards. So short term, that is what I think. Short term or lower time frame, that's what I think. On the higher time frames, I don't care that much about the volatility. What I said would look something like this, and generally this is also what I do expect, although a spike down lower into something like 86,000 where we had that week low is something I do think you need to take into account when setting up positions, etc. So don't forget about that. But those are my thoughts generally right now for Bitcoin going into next week. Thank you all for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Take care and bye.